Hello, my friend, and welcome. I'm Daryl Urbanski, and today I have something special for you. What you're about to hear today isn't part of what we usually do. Today, I'd like to spend some personal time with you and for us to get to know each other better. So, to start, I'll be sharing some of my life stories with you, plus introducing you to some of the grandfathers of my business acumen. In fact, the next few weeks, I'll be introducing you to the grandfathers of my education, plus, you're going to get select never released recordings of people interviewing me where I give some of my best business and life advice ever. We all learn from various people we know for various amounts of time. Some people we share just a single impactful moment together, others, a full weekend. And some of us have people in our lives who have always been there, always guiding us, and always sharing our paths. Well, I would like to share some of these people who have guided me with you. Your life really can change based on the things you learn and the people you meet. So please enjoy this special series of classic and never released recordings in this 10-part interview series. Enjoy.
Big welcome to Daryl Urbanski to today's show. Welcome to the Unstoppable podcast, Daryl.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor and a pleasure, of course.
Well, you and I have spent some time together the last couple of weeks. It's been a real pleasure. And what I will tell you guys listening to the show, Daryl is like a walking encyclopedia of business and marketing. So I'm absolutely excited to get into some real chunky gold today. But before we kick off, Daryl, would you mind just introducing yourself in your own words and telling the listeners who you are and what you're all about?
Sure. So, hey, everyone. Nice to meet you. Shake your hand if you're here in person. My name is Daryl Urbanski. I'm a Canadian who's traveled the world, lived all over. And when people ask what I do, I tell them I help businesses with websites generate leads and sales. If people ask more, I say, well, it means I'm a business coach and a marketing consultant. And if I were at a really geeky like marketing conference, I would probably just introduce myself as a direct response database automation marketer. So, in a nutshell, it's kind of what I do.
Awesome. And I know you've got a pretty meaty vision as well. Would you mind sharing your big vision?
Yes, I have a mission to help create 200 new entrepreneurs who solve world problems with entrepreneurship. And how? Well, you'll do better when you know better. And it comes from that. I guess it's my interview, so I can go ahead and rant if I want. It comes from I had my first time I helped build a seven-figure funnel, and I was actually kind of bummed out because I know that might sound crazy. Like I was making more money than I've ever made before in my life, but I set a goal. I thought to make $1 million for myself. Now it's one of those things. Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Because when I go look back at what my goal was, it was to generate $1 million, which I did. And I was talking with a friend, and I was kind of like depressed because my goal date was coming up, and I had this, it was around my birthday, and he was like, "Well, dude, like, what about your client?" Like I was working with John Assaraf at the time from the movie The Secret, really big name. I was like, you're right. And I went home and I opened up our account and looked at the stats. I realized that in about 4 months, 4.5 months, we were on par. We had just done like 1.3, $1.4 million. By the next 10 days, we would have done 1.6 million. And that would have been a clear net $1 million for the company. I realized that I did it. And I called my buddy up and he was like, man, if I knew the people you knew, could have the conversations with them that you have, I'd be doing multi-million dollar or $1 million marketing campaigns as well. And so that's kind of what spurred that to help create 200 new multimillionaires. And I actually just connected. I do have a podcast of my own, and we are soon uploading an interview I did with my assistant there, where now I was updated. It's kind of cool to be able to say this, but they've in less than 3 years, that funnel I built has now done just under $7.5 million,
Wow.
which is crazy. Now it's not. It's a team effort, and it is an automated funnel for the most part, but it's still work in the sense that you're still serving people, and like even if the food delivery and all that was automated, someone's got to go and clean up the garbage. So it was like customer service rep, Kent, my assistant. We had an agency to help with paid media and some software tools, and like that was it. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so
Wow.
the mission is to help create 200 new multimillionaire entrepreneurs. And why? It's not that it's about the money, it's about the volume of people you serve. I don't want to, you can make a difference even in one person's life, can have a big impact. So maybe in that sense, I'm very greedy, but I want to have a greater impact, and that's part of why I've had a couple businesses of my own, and every business needs a couple hundred to a couple thousand customers to stay afloat. And then I realized, just helping some of my friends that were having successes in their businesses, that wow, through them I'm affecting their customers. And then I realized if I could help create 200 new multimillionaire business owners, that would literally mean thousands of business owners I've helped. And if every business needs a couple hundred, couple thousand customers, then I've literally influenced tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of people's lives. So
Awesome. So before we dive into kind of your entrepreneurial beginnings, what led you to settle on 200?
yeah, to be honest, it was because in one of the meetings, because when I was working with John, we did have a business coaching division of what we were doing. and he had talked about we should set a goal to help create some new multimillionaires that in our promotion, because we were like, we wanted to do a promotion, beef up some of the stuff that the programs that we had on that side. And his original idea was, well, let's talk about like helping other people become millionaires. I was like, that's a great idea. It never took off. It was like one of those meetings that we had a conversation, and then nothing ever happened of it. But he set the goal. He's like, yeah, we should say we're going to help like 20,000 people or something. And in my head, I'm just like, that's because John's a big thinker, right? He's really a big thinker. And in my head, I'm like, one, I just don't think anyone's really going to believe that. Like it was just a little too far fetched. But I think that in the lifetime of my career, with the people that I've helped and even the track record I've got, I think 200 is very realistic. So
Cool.
that's how it came to be.
So Daryl, where did your entrepreneurial journey begin?
That's an interesting question. And I took down some notes, and there's things I usually say for a lot of interviews, but I don't like. I don't even know. I think it came. I mean, this is just kind of an insight to having, because I get asked this a lot, and I think it comes like honestly, it just comes from even before that. Like I was adopted, so I was an orphan, and before I knew I was adopted, I always felt like I didn't fit in, and different like in my family places. Like it wasn't like they didn't like, but like people liked me, and I could hang. You know what I mean? And we laughed, and have friends, but it wasn't like. It's like if you were a purple kid living in a house with like, it doesn't matter if your family's white, black, brown, whatever, but if you were purple, you'd be like, my skin's purple and everyone's not. And you'd just be like, something's weird here, and it's like you don't know how to ask. So when you say the entrepreneurial journey, I think even back then, because I felt different, I felt like I always had to walk my own path. But really, I've always been fond of being an entrepreneur because my step adopted dad's brother in Toronto was an entrepreneur. And I remember when we would go visit him, people would coming over. One time we came over and like this lady brought like a bunch of flowers and fruit and stuff. And I just felt like every time I went to visit him, people were coming and saying thank you. Like they were just really grateful for the things he was doing for them. He was in property management, and these were tenants and stuff coming and talking. But for me, it left the impression that a business owner really helps people and provides a lot of and meanwhile, flip to the side, not quite rich dad, poor dad, but my father come home and he just complained about the coworkers that he worked with. And of course he'd have victories too, but I never saw that appreciation from other people. And, again, it coming back to, I guess, having been adopted, that finding a sense of belonging, or finding that you are valued in a community is an important thing. So I think it starts from way back there. I mean, even when I was a kid, I wanted to make money, and so my parents paid me to babysit my little brother, and it wasn't enough. So I started trying to babysit other little kids, and I took on this other kid's paper route, and I was, I had a lemonade stand, and I mean, ever since I was a kid, I did that. A buddy of mine, we used to go in the wintertime in Canada. We used to shovel driveways for money, So I've done a lot of different things from the
No
start.
wonder why you focus on scalable campaigns then with a background like that.
Well, yeah, because I've worked really hard. I mean, even when I remember I was living in Tokyo, and at one point I was working for Shinsei Bank as a consultant slash English teacher. Because in Japan, if you're living in Japan, everything has a component of English coaching and teaching, because not everyone's native level. But I was working there, and great, I was making $60 an hour. But I mean, some days just the money, like it just wasn't, it didn't matter. Like I'm just done. It's like a workout. Like you might want to burn the calories, but at some point you're like, I'm done. Like I got no more. So it's like, all right, well, how do I get past this ceiling? And I didn't really know. And it's been mentors and experiences and just diving in and learning and just enjoying the journey. So I don't know if
And how did you end up working with John Assaraf?
Ooh, that's a great question. So, was in Japan doing the freelance thing, making really good money. Decided to travel the world with my girlfriend at the time. We were together about almost 6 years before we decided to go our separate ways. And spent a month in Thailand, 9 weeks in Africa. Just did a whole bunch of stuff. And we came back. It was right before the recession hit, and we started looking for jobs. And we wanted to get into real estate. We got a job working for this company, Homestead. And they told us we were going to be property managers, and we were going to have a portfolio of, possibly up to 1,000 units. But first we had to start off as superintendents to learn the job that we were going to eventually be managing people doing. And we did that, and the recession hit, and suddenly all the training dates that we had for project management and this promotion we were going to get were canceled. And shortly after, it just wasn't the income, wasn't the life that we wanted, all that stuff. So I left. I started trying to find other ways to make money. I was looking into becoming a manager of a couple different gyms in town, and I was training at a martial arts school. and or I had been training at a martial arts school. Sorry, in
Yes.
Japan, I trained somewhere else. When I came back, I didn't want to go back to that school. It was a great school. It wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I had my own little rec club kind of going. There's a military base nearby. And anyways, long story short, is a friend told me I should talk to the owners of that school about buying it, and we worked on it, and I almost got it, but it kind of didn't work out. A friend of mine decided he wanted it more. There was some drama around that, but I ended up
Yeah.
going and launching my own thing anyways because I already had the rec club. I was like, forget it, I already have a rec club. I'm just going to start charging money for it and treat it. There's a mentor of mine that I had at the time said, if you treat your business like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. If you treat your business like a business, it will pay you like a business. So I was like, this is just a hobby right now. Let me make it a business. So I built the martial arts school. I built up to six figures. I had 4 or 5 instructors and a head instructor, and I had a couple sales reps, and I had a min team, and a lot of it was automated. And I got really comfortable, and I got kind of bored. So then I put together a promotion to go back to Japan. I was feeling nostalgic, wanted to go back, and I wanted to do all the favorite things from the 3 years that I lived there. And so
Yes.
and I put together a promotion. I got put in the industry magazines, and I got celebrity endorsements and all sorts of stuff. And I did traveltrainjapan.com. That site's still up, and there's a promo video on that, and it's really just an application form. And then we did phone sales, and we sold $10,000 trips to Japan for a 30-day trip, and I took care of everything: the flight, the accommodation, all that. Spoke the language, knew the terrain, and I did that for 30 days. And right before I left, a buddy of mine, Corey, had just gotten promoted from he was running a satellite office of a company called Ottawa Kiosk, which was like a $1.4 million company out of Ottawa. And he was running their Kingston office, and he got promoted to CEO. And he called me up because him and I met, and we were both he was the only other online marketer I knew, even though I had the martial arts school. I was doing a lot of online stuff, or at least offline to online. And so we would shoot ideas back and forth. And I was going to these conferences, and even though my martial arts school was making six figures, I was spending a ton. I was spending almost all my money on coaching and books. And like anytime someone mentioned a book, like I was listening to interviews like this. It was probably like a lot of your listeners. Like I was consuming info as much as I could. You say I'm an encyclopedia. It's not because I'm super smart. It's just I've soaked in, like I've just, you know what I mean? Like I've just marinated in the info so much. I was even volunteering. Like I was in mastermind groups, and I would volunteer. And it'd be Friday night. My friends would be going to a party. And I'd be like, it's okay. I gotta help my buddy with his business. And I get on, and we do like a Skype call, and we'd be like, all right, what's the problem? And like, and just helping people out. And so it was a total sidebar because when Corey got promoted, he called me up. I was like, no, dude, you don't understand. I'm putting you on. He told me about it. I was like, congratulations, it's great. I'm leaving Japan in 2 days. He's like, oh, well, when you come back, I need you. I've never been a CEO before. I'm putting you on retainer. It's going to be $2,500 a month. And I just need you to be available for some calls during the week, like conference calls stuff. I was like, wait, really? And I was in Japan thinking about it. And I'm like, man, maybe I'm in the wrong industry because even though my martial arts school was like the classes and that, like I had a class schedule and I didn't have to do everything, it was still, you lose members, and especially the town I was in was very seasonal. Like it's a student town. So every summer it was like classes were empty, even though you were getting money. Like it's not fun to run, and it's funner when classes are fuller, basically, no matter how much money you're making.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I'm in the wrong business. And so I wrote 3 books, very short books. I call them business books for busy people. And I put them up on Amazon, and I put some of what I teach behind it. And I got some traction, and one of them started to take off. And so I put all my efforts into that, and I got it to hit #1 on Amazon for the top 100 in marketing and sales. And that got me on television, radio, newspaper, yada, yada, yada. And actually, along all this path of all the mentorship programs I was in and all the coaching stuff I do and the products I bought, I become really good friends with a guy, Jermaine Griggs, does $250,000 a month, and he's literally got the 4-hour work week. Took him 10 years to get there. Brilliant guy. Everything he does is just beautiful. He just really knows his stuff. Really, really knows his stuff. And we become really close friends. And I kicked him in the butt about something, and he had made a product and launched it. And so I was one of the people helping support this product because I was kind of part of the impetus of him doing it, or I guess the reason why he did it. And I watched and helped him do it. It's all his content. I don't want to take any credit for it whatsoever. I didn't help with the marketing materials or that. Well, anyways, it was his thing, but because I was so closely connected to it and to him, I was kind of like one of the support people, right? So he launched this program on how he built and automated his business and all this stuff, and it filled in some of the gaps for me. And I just got connected to John through that community, and John was looking for someone to be a marketing director, and I wasn't interested in a job. I had my martial arts school. I just done this thing, and I thought, the Japan trip, and I thought it was going to be an annual thing. But I didn't like the small town I was in Canada. And I don't know. I reached out because I knew who John was, and next thing you know, I got on the phone and I got pre-screened for an interview, and they had me do some sort of aptitude test. And suddenly John's on the phone with me saying, "Hey, you scored really well in this aptitude test. I'd like to fly you to San Diego." And I went and met him, and we shook hands, and he offered me a deal I could not refuse, and a percent of everything I helped him make, and that's kind of what kicked that off.
Wow, wow,
So,
wow. An amazing journey, crammed
so
so much in. What so that story, or what kind of time frame are we talking about from start to finish?
from
That was a
the martial arts school is about 3 years, 3.5 years from going from rec club to, well, yeah, about 3 years. I mean, to getting it where I wanted. It was already up and like we were profitable from day one because I didn't even realize it, but I already had a free user base. You know what I mean? That I just subscribe, like up, hey, if you just want to come the one day, the Saturday a week, that's fine. But if you want to come more classes, it was boom. It was profitable, done. And I managed to luck out. And we started in a church, so my overhead was like $500 a month for the space, and things just came together. And so I started that business up for like less than $2,000, $3,000. So I was profitable pretty quick. And so it was about 3 years, I'd say, from when I started that. And yeah, and then when I launched the Travel Train Japan, and then when I started working for John.
And then how long were you with John for?
I was with John for 8 months. That's a whole different story on its own. It was a great experience. I learned a lot. Um, One of the things that I will say is it was really bewildering for me, and I think this is something that's important for everyone here that's listening to this call, is it was really bewildering for me because I put all these people up on a pedestal. Probably people who listen to this might even have me, might know of me, or even after this interview might put me on a pedestal. And so when I went to San Diego, it was like the center of the universe for online marketing. And when I went, like instantly, because it was John, I got plugged into all these phenomenal people and all these great groups. And one of the things I felt like, and I really want to try and sound humble when I say this, but I was just shocked with how little some of these people knew. And I felt like, for martial arts term, I felt like the kid that came to like the grand temple where it all began, and then I'm one of the top students. And it's like, but I've been training in the backwoods with nobody but my imaginary ninja friends in the forest that I'm fighting. Like, that's what it felt like, because it was just me, like, in this small town in Kingston. And like I said, me and Corey were like the only online marketers I knew, spending everything I had just to try to connect with people like me and go to every conference I could. And I was always in the audience, and I didn't really ever compare like my results of what I was doing next to someone else's and stuff. And so I went to San Diego. It was a huge eye opener for me. And it just really shows that, like, things like this podcast, like, it's really valuable. I mean, there's no magic room. The stuff we're going to talk about today, like, this is all the real, like, it's it. Like, there's no secret, and we're not going to hang up. And Dan and I are going to go, all right, now we got all the BS out of the way. Let's talk about the real stuff that we're like, it's it, and it's, and it's just it's.
I tell you the big thing I took from that, and I think it's a really important lesson in itself, is that it's very easy to put other people in your industry or in business on a pedestal. And then what that does, and this came from an interview with a guy called Rob Moore, a British entrepreneur, and he said, when you put someone on a pedestal, you put yourself in the pit, because you're elevating someone else. And as a result of that, it causes self-doubt. And you and I had a long conversation about mindset yesterday, but when you do that, there's plenty of people getting started in business, and they see people in their industry achieving all these things, or on the surface as the top of the iceberg.
Yes.
And they then belittle themselves, saying, I need to do this, or I need to learn that before I do this. And that's often not the case. And I think your point there is so spot on. These people are probably put on the pedestal by their audience in the industry or whatnot, but it's not the case. That the thing is, it's so easy to forget how much you know as well. Like, I said, it was a compliment that you're a walking encyclopedia, but it's very easy to forget just how knowledgeable and how much ability you have when that's all you focus on. When you take yourself out of the context and speak to a beginner again, it's like, holy cow, I'm actually an expert here.
Yeah.
So I think that pedestalization of people is such a dangerous game to do, especially when you're starting out in business, because you think you need to do all these things before you can get into the marketplace. But the reality is, they actually probably keep it more simple than you think.
You're right. You're totally right on that. And the other part is thinking that you don't know enough. There's a great Bruce Lee quote. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 1,000 times more than the man who's practiced 1,000 kicks once. And that's really important, because the guy that's practiced 1,000 kicks, he'll hit you with that kick no matter what you do. Like, he's practiced it so much, it's like Green Eggs and Dr. Seuss Green Eggs and Hams. He'll kick you on a boat, he'll kick you in a moat, he'll kick you next to a mouse, he'll kick you, like, it doesn't matter what you do. He's practiced that so well. Sure, he might be a one-trick pony, but he's going to get you. You know what I mean? And so that's the other problem that you have to watch out for, is people thinking, oh, well, what about the next shiny object? You know, and the beautiful thing is a lot of the stuff is principle based. A lot of the, what is it, principles, tactics frequently change, strategies sometimes but rarely change, and principles almost never change. And so that's one of the beautiful things about it, And I always say this: I'm like, the one thing a monk will never tell you is that movement is better than meditation. And what I mean by that is you can meditate on something for days on end, but you'll never know until you get some movement with it. And once you get some movement, you'll get positive or negative feedback. And guess what you do? You course correct. And then you keep moving and you get more feedback. And guess what you do? You course correct. And so you can meditate all day, but you'll still be where you're sitting.
That's a big lesson I've learned in my own life. You
Yeah.
can't you can't think yourself out of a problem. You have to engage. You have to take action. If you're making a decision about which route to take, there's a path A, B, or A, B, C, D. However many choices you have.
Yeah.
The only way to understand if you're walking the right path is to take the first step down the path.
Yeah, yeah. And knowledge and experience definitely help. I mean, but yeah, for a lot of people, it's like, I remember, again, going back to the martial arts school, I still do this business coaching. People are like, is this right? I'm like, do it 10 more times and come back, and I guarantee you'll be doing it better. Do you know, like, students come to, hey, and I'm like, how many times have you done it? 3 times? Okay, do it 20 more times and then come talk to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because, yeah, you kind of, like, as long as you got the kind of right idea, next you just gotta figure it out. You gotta walk through it. You gotta get into your muscle memory, like, anyways, so.
So to complete the story, then obviously you were working with John, and then fill in the gaps between working with John and to where you are now.
Sure. So things with John went really, really well, and we started making a ton of money, and we started building the team. And then there was some inner office political things that I just wasn't okay with, and so I walked. And after that, I mean, I started working. I started doing more coaching and consulting. After I left that, I had a lot of people reaching out to me to look at their businesses and to bring that expertise that I brought to John. Um, because a lot of people, anyways, it's not my place to say. A lot of people had a lot of respect for what I helped John accomplish, and so that's basically what happened. And I just got caught up, and then I went through a couple of waves of taking on clients, and like I had one client. She's in a really nice niche. She doesn't want me to talk about which niche. It's one of those things that when you're in a good niche, don't tell people, right? Because otherwise everyone's in that niche.
Yep.
But she had a webinar. She was doing 60,000 around that a month, and then I helped her with that, and we scaled it up to over 100,000. Excuse me. And then I hooked her up with an advertising. Well, we got connected with an advertising agency, and after that they were just kind of driving traffic. And then the last I heard, she had a $600,000 month, and then I went on and repeated that sort of thing a couple of times over. So that's really kind of what it's been. And I went through iterations of doing these things for clients, and then getting frustrated that I'm helping these people have these major wins, and almost like feeling like I'm not having the impact I should have, and then trying to go back to do my own stuff, but then getting involved because I'm an entrepreneur and I have ADD, in the sense that it's fun. Like I really enjoy client work, because if one, you get to meet all the people on the team, you get to learn stuff that you don't even know, or just be reminded of things that you already knew. And it's I'm all about like repping it out. And that's the thing, is like when you work on your own project, you don't necessarily always get to rep it out as much, if that makes sense. I mean, just straight up, I really like to be and consider myself like the guy that would, be in City Park in New York playing 8 games of chess, and he would just be sitting there with all, I love that. Like, put me with a project manager and a team, and I am like a kid in a candy store, and so anyway, so that's basically what I've done. I've had clients, we've had some wins, and I fired some clients, and I got clients again, and that's really kind of what brings us to today. I took time off. I came to visit family up in Canada because I was in San Diego, and then I ran into an issue getting back into the States because of immigration stuff, and then I ended up being stuck here. I'm still in Canada now while paperwork was pending, and then I met my girlfriend, got a dog, and so that's really kind of what brings us to present day. I mean, one of the questions I know that you're going to ask me about challenges, and it was a real challenge for me when I first left John, because one of the first things that happened when I was there is we were really in a bad scenario. I didn't know. I moved and changed my life and everything down to San Diego, and then found out that the business of the company was in a bad scenario, and we had, this is the other thing, like, you ever heard people tell you, like, either put a gun to your head or burn the boats type thing? Like, we had to make a solid $150,000 or else it was just going to not be a really good scenario. And I'd never done, I hadn't done $250,000 in a year, let alone like in a month. And we did it. We put a promotion together and launched it, and we did it. We did 220,000 in October, and it was a great experience. And then again, having built this automated funnel, which I did evenings and weekends on my own time because of that fear that was put into me when I came, and you move somewhere and you uproot everything, and it's like someone if they left a corporate job for and it wasn't that, because I was being paid, and but it just was it sounded like a bleak scenario, and I might be blowing it out of proportion. But we did that, and so one of the things that was a challenge for me is when I left, because when I left, the terms that I left, there was no handshake, there was no golden watch or anything like that. And for me, and part of it's also, I think, because what I did wasn't necessarily exceptional for John, considering that he's been a part of a lot of multi-million-dollar businesses. But for me, it was like a life achievement. Like no one in my family, you know what I mean? Like
Yes, yes.
and so that was a challenge just mentally, and it really took me a couple of clients before I got my confidence back, because I was like, was it even me? Like, was it? And this is a legitimate, I'm just being honest thing. And now, obviously, not only that, but with the interview I done with Kent and other people on the team, they're like, dude, what you built has been a legacy here, and it's been paying for it's been paying for all the experiments and all the failed. Because that's the other thing, is a lot of marketing fails. That's what a lot of people don't realize. 9 out of 10 marketing campaigns don't go in. 9.5 out of 10 marketing campaigns don't get anywhere. That's why it's important to fail fast. And so, anyway, so that's been. Overcoming that was a big one, but that's where I was a little shy the next project. But hey, all right, man, we did 100,000 this month, that's great. Hey, we got a $600,000 month, and then getting another client, and then in 20 minutes finding $110,000 in her business that she didn't even know was there.
Wow.
Literally, we just hired someone and gave him a script and had him call people and collect the money, and it was great. And just all sorts of stuff. So suddenly, then you start getting your confidence back. But
Wow.
Yeah,
you shared some really key highlights. What has been the kind of proudest moment for you on your entrepreneurial journey?
That's a great to be really honest. I thought about this, and it's when I've done the freelance thing, I've done all that, but when I launched my martial arts school and I had my first student sign up, that was because I don't know why. It was like the recession. It was like everyone was talking about gloom and doom, and everyone was like, this is a terrible time to start a business, and what are you doing? And when I got my first customer, it was just so like, you believe in me, like you're giving me, I don't know why. I think that a lot of people say that they'll never forget their first customer when you do like a new venture that you're nervous about, or I know, like when I've upped my prices, the first person that accepts that higher price, like that's always just, and it's not, again, it's not even about the money, it's about the acknowledgement, because people will pay a lot of lip service, but people, when they spend money like it's real. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So those have been some of them. I mean, and obviously doing the millions of dollars, that was a really proud moment. And then when I got to repeat it, because then I knew that it wasn't, I felt like an imposter. That's an important thing too for a lot of people. They have imposter syndromes, and I'd found that out when I went through it. They feel, even after they have a success in business, when you talk about mindset, that's such an important key. And when we did talk yesterday, you dropped some great wisdom on that, because mindset can really sabotage people. I mean, I've seen it with world champions in martial arts. I've seen it with Olympians. I'm a CrossFitter, and it's so funny that just even recently they just had the CrossFit Open, and the guy that won it, Noah Olson, there was a video of him before so if those that don't know CrossFit, you do like a workout a week for 5 weeks, and everyone gets a score for how they do, and it's videotaped and yada yada yada, so everyone knows it's real. But it was like the guy, when you watch Noah's tape, he was so he doubted, like, you're like, this is the guy that's beating 200,000 men around the world. Like, he was just really self-conscious about how, and his coach like looked, and it was just really I don't want to say funny, but it was just great to see, because that mindset piece is it's so important. Here's a guy, he's already in the top 5 out of 200,000 men, 18 to like 40 around the world, and it's the last workout, and it's just like, and he's just like, just doesn't believe, he kind of believes in himself, but his self-talk, like he needed his coach there. Like, I really felt like, having watched that video, he would have psyched himself out if he didn't have his coach there to just be like, dude, like get your head in the game, this is what you're doing, this, just snap out of it, go execute.
Amazing. Well, let's have a brief chat around some kind of your personal success mantras. What are some of the inner game principles that stand strong for you, that help you? I mean, you touched upon the fact that you lost your confidence and then got your confidence back. Perhaps you could elaborate on how you were able to get your confidence back, and then some of the other principles that are really strong for you in terms of your mindset as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, having a morning routine has been really good for me. I'm a very much Alex Schefren's got a thing he does, the entrepreneurial personality type, and I really love one thing he said, that entrepreneurs are momentum-based beings, that you don't necessarily relate to happy, sad, and upset and all that. You just know whether you're stagnating, you're neutral, or you're getting momentum. And it's like the more momentum you get, the more elated you feel, and that's very much me. It's even this morning I was saying to my girlfriend, I'm like, I feel so good today because everyone on my team's logged in on time and everyone knows what they're working on, and I'm like, we got momentum. And even you for this call, you're like, you ready? I'm like, I'm ready. I did my workout. I got this is it, and like, like I got momentum in my day. So morning routines are really important for me because it's like it just sets me off fresh, and I might still be productive other days. But I just don't feel like it, I just, that confidence, all that stuff. So for me, just taking care of yourself, being really in tune with yourself, your wants and needs, and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, ignoring haters. There's always going to be naysayers, ignoring people with opinions but no results. And then one of the other things is, actually, I use the 5 minute journal, which I love. And it's just, it's every morning you say three things of gratitude. You write down three things of gratitude that you're grateful for. You write down three goals for the day, and you do like your personal affirmation. And for years, since I was in Japan, just shy of 3 years, and since like my first day in Japan, I had this thing, this mantra I would listen to: I am living a long, happy, healthy, joyful, and wealthy life. I want to live a long life. I set a goal to live to be 300. So that's why it's first. Long, happy, because I want to be happy. Long, happy, healthy, because if I don't have my health, I don't want to be a brain in a jar. That's going to suck. Long, happy, healthy, joyful. Joyful's sharing happiness with others and making them happy. Long, happy, healthy, joyful, wealthy, because, right, you don't want to necessarily, not that money's everything, but I've been poor and I've been what some would consider well off, and I very much prefer the latter. It's
Yes.
just, yeah, and joyful, wealthy life surrounded by families and friends. So that's a big thing. Um, so there's a couple of things. So really what got me back on track is that. Then also there's a great book, Think and Grow Rich, and in it talks about having like a mantra that you read to yourself every day, morning, noon, and night. I actually would take my iPhone and I'd have a reminder pop it up almost once an hour, and I committed to myself that no matter what I was doing, I would stop it and I'd read this just to remind myself. And it's been really good for me. And it goes, I generate millions of dollars in annually recurring net income for myself and my clients with ever increasing ease and simplicity. I sell ideas and information products, digital and or paper and ink, to provide large groups of people suffering from serious or urgent problems access to solutions from world-class experts. Using the T times C equals money formula, I employ automated systems to generate leads, nurture prospects, make sales, fill orders, provide aftercare, and upsell, giving me this financially secure, long, happy, healthy, joyful, and wealthy life, surrounded by loving family, friends, and peers. And so I built on it over time, and again with Think and Grow Rich, come up with that. And that's been a really good help because it might sound silly, but just by reviewing that a couple times a day, I'll look at what I'm doing and I'm like, this is not taking, like, this has nothing to do with that. And that's part of what got me my confidence back, by just staying focused. Because if you focus on something, it's really hard to put full-time hours into a single focus and not get results. And so that's where a lot of people get off the track. And so for me, having that was a real, that being surrounded by the right people, um, and just being willing to that's the other thing. Like, it's not a 9 to 5 job that I have to go to. It's like self-directed. It's what I'm passionate about. And I might not enjoy some of the stuff I have to do along the way, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm on that path,
Mm,
like, if
mm,
that makes sense. So I'm still
absolutely.
passionate about what I'm doing. And that's an important part too. And so, like I said, just getting back in there, has been, I think that's a big part of how I got my confidence back, was just staying focused on this. And like, look, let's just say that what happened with John was a total fluke. Let's just say that. Does that change who I want to be and what I want to accomplish and what I want to do? That doesn't change the results. I got Corey. It doesn't change the fact I got my book to #1 on Amazon. It doesn't change the fact that I was selling $10,000 trips to Japan, to go do my favorite things for a month. Like, right? Like, it doesn't change the fact that how I've been living my life all these years. And so I knew I just needed another win. And so I really just stayed focused. And I'm I really don't believe in days off. That's another thing. When you look outside And you don't like, you see the birds and the squirrels and stuff. None of them are like, oh, it's Saturday, I'm not going to forage for food today. If the predator comes by, I'm going to tell him to come back tomorrow. Like, that just doesn't exist. Days off are like, it's made by our society and our it's us. Like, we created, our civilization created the luxury of sloth, and of having enough food, like a fridge that we can store food in, and a road so we can travel. Like, so I mean, obviously, you live your life. So here's the other part of it, and forgive me, I know I'm going everywhere, but I also really believe that people need to have a day-to-day life that you could live forever. So when I talk about the morning routine, the other part is I set up my day to, so everything, like, if there's a movie called Groundhog Day where the guy wakes up every day to the same day, and I was like, if I had to do that, what would my perfect day look like? And I
Wow.
really designed it, and I put, like, even a timeline. Like, I get up and I go to the gym and I do this, even, even, and you put whatever you want there, like having sex, and and having a drink glass of wine with dinner, like whatever you want, that's fine, good, bad. You don't have to think, like, just be real. Just be real with yourself. I want to read a book. I want to watch TV for 4 hours. Whatever that is, it's fine. But then get into that day and just live it. And so that's part of what got me out of it too, is because I was living a day to day that I enjoyed, and I was focused on very clear goals and reflecting on past accomplishments, surrounding myself with like-minded people, and just really trying to do that and not get pulled, because you got to be careful about who influences you. If you start hanging out with a buddy and you've got goals to accomplish something, and meanwhile they don't have the same goals, if that makes sense. Like,
Absolutely.
like if I have fitness goals and then I'm hanging around with a bunch of friends that are smokers, it's not really gonna get me where I want to go. They can be great people, but they're not gonna get me where I want to go. So I hope I
Super.
answered it in there somewhere.
You did. That's very powerful. And I just want to touch on one thing you said as well about there's no days off. And I meet so many people, who they say they want to change the world and they want to change all these lives. And then they go into Starbucks and they don't treat the Starbucks guy with respect. They don't
Yeah.
they don't bring their A game. So like, if you can't, and this story came from a buddy of mine, I acknowledge him, Miles, for giving me this story. But if you don't show up as your best self in every moment with every human being, you can't expect to change the world.
Yeah.
In that respect, at the very basic level, there's no days off.
Yep.
So show up as your best self. But I want to take a deep dive now. You've got this reputation of being able to create these monstrous automated funnels of amazing results, automated seven-figure funnels. I really want to take a deep dive into this now,
Sure.
and really get into the fundamentals, like a high-level overview of all the components that people need to think about if they were to build their own seven-figure automated income stream or funnel. Where would someone start? What are the core components?
That's excellent. So, and again, I'm going to preface this because we're talking about mindset. And so, everyone listening to this call, why not you? So, what I'm about to talk about, I've accomplished and I've helped others accomplish. And why not you? Why can't you accomplish this? Okay, you can. The only thing in your way is probably yourself and the fact that you're just not committing the hours needed to it or prioritizing to it. I mean, if you have kids, then just go the speed you can go. Your time with your kids is super important. So I just want to preface it with that. Don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses. Set your own benchmark and be like, am I living the day that, am I putting the hours that I'm committing to put into it every day? Could I cut back? Do I really need to watch TV? Do I really need whatever? Because I want to say that for real, to preface this, because I don't want anyone to think this is beyond their reach. This is very much in their reach. So first of all, to do a seven-figure business, you need to know that you're in an industry that can actually achieve that. So a really good formula to start off with is blank units times blank price equals $1,000,000. That's a great place to start at. Blank units times blank price. So that's 1,000 units at $1,000. That's 2,000 units at $500, or it's 500 units at $2,000. So that can give you an idea of how many sales you need to make, and then you can try to take a look at the market and be like, can I take on this many people? And there's something I got from Michael Gerber in his book, The E-Myth, and I did their coaching and all that too, back when I was spending everything I could on everything I was offered to me. It was a rule of 10,000. You know, um, when you are looking at a process in your business, say even just answering the phone, how would we handle 10,000 inbound phone calls? How would we handle 10,000 of these and treat them all and like ensure the same quality and consistency? How would you handle 10,000 customers? How would you handle 10,000 refund requests? Like using that number 10,000, you start thinking a scale right from the hop. So automation, it takes a lot of forms. I like software, but not everything can be automated with software. So automation might just mean to the owner having a checklist and someone else that does it, or a vendor that handles that portion. So in that, I just want to be real with that. Systems and automation are synonymous, and a system is a system. It can be software, hardware, all that stuff, or it can be people who do it for you. But most of what I've done has been software and online tools and programs that have done it. Excuse me, have done it. The next thing I'm going to talk about, so you've got, all right, I know I could probably make, my 2,000 sales of my $500 product. I think that's realistic that I can do that in a year. Whatever that is, okay, sure, start there, boom. And the reason why I start with that also is because some people might be in a business model, like if you're cleaning carpets, and you're in a small town of like 50,000 people, which is, I guess maybe it's the city at 50,000, I don't know. Are there enough people that you can serve realistically? I don't know. You got to think about that. Maybe then what happens is you need to become the marketer for other carpet cleaners, and then you'd go into the franchise model. So you got to look at your business model and make sure that it makes sense for a seven-figure business. Then the next part of that goes back to what I was reading in my mission statement. When I talk about I generate millions of dollars in annually recurring net income for myself and my clients with ever increasing ease and simplicity. I say using the T times C equals money formula, I employ automated systems to generate leads, nurture prospects, make sales, fulfill orders, provide aftercare, and upsell. So T times C got from Ken McCarthy, the godfather of internet marketing, the first man to ever do a seminar on internet marketing. He had Mark, I forget his name now, but the guy who made the first internet browser, Netscape. And he used to say T plus C. He's like, the marketing game is just T plus C. And I changed it to T times C because I use it in a formula. But T plus C is traffic and conversion. So there's a big conference, Digital Marketer does one, traffic and conversion, but that's the name of the game. So I do T times C because even if it's sales rep, doesn't have to be online, how many doors do I need to knock on to get a sale? If I have a 10% conversion rate, then I need to knock on 10 doors to get one sale. We go back to blank units times blank price equals $1 million. How many doors do I need to knock on, right? So we're doing basic arithmetic here. There's no calculus, no algebra, really basic stuff. If it's an online business, how many visitors do you need to go to whatever, your sales page to make a sale? Is that too early? Do you have to nurture leads? Okay. How many visitors do I need to get to my opt-in page? Do you not have an opt-in page? That's where you start have to looking at your business as a system, as an assembly line, as a workflow process where there's a beginning and an end. Tyler Garnes, the ex-VP of Infusionsoft, has this great activity he calls the Power of One, where you kind of walk as if it was like an amusement park ride, your client's experience from the beginning to end. If you only had one customer, if you had to make all your money off one customer, how would you do it, and what would you do, and how would you treat them, and what would their experience be like, and storyboard it out. Like, how do you meet them? What do you say to them? What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? When do you ask for money, right? How do you make sure they're really happy with their purchase? All the way through from beginning to end. And you map this out, business mind map, or a flow chart, or a systems diagram, whatever you want to call it. And then here you've got this funnel, because a lot of people consider a funnel like a one part, but for me, the funnel is not like lead to sale, and that's my funnel. No, it's like these 4 ways to capture leads, and the way we make these 2 or 3 offers that then lead to these sequential offers that then lead to these referral requests that then lead to this affiliate program. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that to me is a funnel. Like, to me, the whole business is the funnel, not one piece of it. So you plan that out, and that's an important part of it. And so now it becomes an arithmetic game. For a lot of people, they're relying on things that don't scale, to like the word of mouth. You talk to some business owners, especially local business owners, like word of mouth. You just do. I felt so bad. My girlfriend and I went to for Indian last night. Great restaurant, peak time, 6 o'clock. There was us and 2 other couples in this big restaurant. All the other tables are empty, and I'm like, these guys backstage, like I couldn't comfortably enjoy my food because I knew the owners must be freaking out. Like, I'm like, from these 3 meals, they're barely paying enough to pay the staff, let alone the overhead, and like and make some money for themselves. And it's because they're just, I guarantee if I talk to them, like, well, you just, you give them good food and you treat them really well, and they like you, and they decide to come back on their own. No, they don't. I went for sushi. We tried a new place for sushi, and I loved the place. And I asked the guy if he had a loyalty program, and he said no. And I was like, damn, that's really unfortunate. I love to come back here again. He's like, oh, well, come back anytime. I'm like, okay. And I left, and I knew in my head, like, I'm such a busy guy. Unless you send me a reminder and give me a reason to, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to show up. So forgive me. I hope I'm not going like left, right, and up and down. But so the
That's cool.
overarching view of it is this T times C, and you have to know what's the entry point that all your leads come from, and then what is the process, and you want to try and standardize it. And if you have 7 different people in your business doing it all their own little way, kind of the same thing, but they're each doing it their own style. You got to stop that. You got to figure out who's the best at it, figure out why they're the best, and turn that into a training system, and then have everybody do what that person does, or just use software to automate it. And so we're talking about high level stuff here, but it's principles. And again, there's no magic room. You guys listen to this. I'm giving away the goods. So I hope you got a pen. Hope you listen to this a couple of times, because this is the goods. I mean, that's really it. And that's T times C. So now you look at your whole business as a process. How much traffic do I need to get a lead? How many leads do I need to get a sale? How many first-time sales do I need to get a multiple, like a repeat buyer? You know what I mean? Because everybody knows people need regulars. Most businesses need regulars to stay afloat. But how many people have a process and a system to turn someone into a repeat buyer, right? And you just go through the process from start to finish. So it's tough if you're just going from zero. It's going to be a lot of manual. Don't worry about the automation part. Just get something up and running, and just hodgepodge your way through it, and duct tape the systems and the machines together, and just get moving. You know what I mean? Like just get movement. We talked movement over meditation. Meditate on a little bit and then execute, and then just keep building that out. And then the name of the game, it's arithmetic. I mean, I use the analogy of the black box. I know we're going to be running out of time soon, so I'm going to try and keep it short, but keep it real. So I like to use the analogy of a black box. And what I mean by that is your business is a black box where people come in one side crying and in pain and suffering, and they come out the other side, big smile on their face, so excited and happy. And like that black box is all the things that need to happen for the customer to get from A to B. Whatever it is you do, you clean teeth, you clean carpets, you sell info products, you're a coach consultant, and you sell whatever it is, that's your black box. All that stuff needs to be standardized. And then you need to know, like on average, after all my expenses, this is my net profit off of each customer. Okay, great. So let's take an example. Say, I don't even know, we can use the dentist office. Let's just say, just for example's sake, that I got my little black box office here. And people come in, they get their teeth cleaned, and then they go. And I know on average I make $100 after all expenses for that. Well, now I know, and let's just say that's including the upsell to the root canal and all that other stuff. On average, per customer, my lifetime customer value is $100. Now I go, okay, I make and put $100 cash in my pocket for every customer I get. So now, how much of this $100 that I get to keep am I willing to spend to get more people to come into my business?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where advertising, and that's where a lot of the stuff, these buzz things and that people talk about, like you can make a good living just on word of mouth. You can make a good living having your buddies refer business to you. You can do that. That's very realistic. But if you want a business that can survive the ups and downs of the economies of the world, like the economies of the world, if you want a business that can be, the biggest difference between a local business and a nationwide business is a nationwide business can pay to get in front of their customers across the nation. Think whoa, what's that, right? Whereas the small business, it's like, oh, well, we've got this dry cleaner that sends us a couple people a month, and or it's the trades guy that he's got like 2 or 3 people that field him work. Like, that's great, but you got to figure out, how do I meet someone totally new who doesn't know me from Tom, Dick, and Harry, and how do I, one, get their interest, get their attention? How do I get them to tell me who they are so I can build a relationship with them? Do you know what I mean? And like that's the real challenge. And it's simple, but it's not easy. And that's where you have to have, one, an entrepreneur really needs a team. If anyone here is listening to this doing it on their own, just spend the money. The first thing everyone in this call should do, if they don't have it already, is just go find a really great person in India or Philippines or in the Caribbean or Mexico or Pakistan or wherever. Pay them the lousy $500 to $700 a month to get a full-time assistant 40 hours a week to work with you. Make it mandatory they work in your time zone, and start fielding work to them. And when they're frustrated with you or you're frustrated with them, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be because you're an idiot and you didn't really explain what you wanted clearly to them. because one of the things that I really love that I learned from E-Myth was people don't fail, systems do, and that's proven true. It's not always true, but it's proven true often. That often
Mm.
it's just the people don't have the training, or it's not explained to them, or they don't have the resources, or they haven't had their hands held through it, and that's in that mentorship and training programs and all that's really important. But you can't do this on your own. You can't. You can do the freelance thing and you can charge good rates, but you're never going to escape the dollar per hour trap. You're never really going to be able to scale the business. You're going to be, especially if you're a freelance thing, you're going to have to try to become a celebrity and get so much fame that you can auction off your time and people will bid it up. So you're making whatever you want to make. Otherwise, you're constantly going to be trapped by a ceiling of dollars per hour.
Powerful stuff. And like Daryl said, I hope you're taking notes. There's so much wisdom in here. The fortunate thing we have in this world is that this podcast is accessible anytime. Just download it, play it back, take notes. There's so much gold in there. And as I said, Daryl has so much wisdom, so much knowledge, and we are coming up to time. So there's so much more he could share, and we'll get to how you can connect with him shortly. But we're going to move now into the final round. I do have one curveball question for you as part of the final round. Being a fellow podcaster and having had some amazing guests on your show, what would you say the top 3 lessons you've learned from some of the guests that you've had on your show? Some of the things that stood out as lessons from your guests?
In what capacity? For success in business, success in personal life, or relationships,
just anything. So one of the key benefits I've had as a hosting this show is whenever I'm listening, I listen intently to what the guest is saying. I have my own magic moments, my own takeaways from the guest. Have there been some kind of key things that have hit you as you've been interviewing your guests and thought, oh, that's something special? What's really stood out in terms of lessons that you've learned from some of the people you've interviewed?
I think the most fulfilled people are people that are pursuing, and it's not necessarily their passion, but they have a purpose and a sense of like this is why I get up in the morning. I think that's a really key component. There's people that I've had on my show, and they're just kind of going through the motions, and they may have had some success, and yes, they've got, like me, I'm like an expert. They've got some expertise in some areas, and we can learn from them. But I think when the mic shuts off, and at the end of the day, I really don't think that they're fulfilled. I think that they're just kind of like I said, just going like a non-flesh eating zombie in some respect. The people that I think really left lasting impressions on me were people that had a life purpose and a life mission, something that were connected to, which is like me with the helping create 200 new multimillionaire business owners. The million's just a goal. I just want to help business owners. I know what it was like. Like I was really empathizing with the restaurant owner at the restaurant last night because he's got his nice suit on, and he's done, and the place looks great, but I know, like, dude, it's Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Why is your restaurant empty? Like you guys have been open like 4 months. This is not good. And so that's a really big takeaway. Like you got to tap into that passion because you're not going to be able to anticipate all. I mean, I can break it down for you as best I can, and it can hopefully reduce, like listening to this and taking the notes and really thinking about what I've said can help reduce your learning curve. But there's still going to be problems and obstacles. There's still going to be things that come up that make you want to give up and throw in the towel. So by really connecting with something that you're passionate about, or that just like is connected to you deep inside, like that may not be an easy thing, but it's a simple thing that comes back to the same thing, building a 7-figure business or funnel. It's a simple thing, but it's not easy. And these are the questions you have to ask. If you're mentally fatigued because you're like, I don't know, well then maybe you don't want to start your own business. Maybe you just need to do a bunch of different things. I almost swore. Maybe you just need to do a bunch of different stuff and just figure out till something connects with you. And that's okay. Like the purpose of life is to live. Alan Watts says this, and I love it. He's like, the purpose of life is just to live, but everyone's running around in a hurry as if there's something to accomplish more than others just being themselves. Like, this is it. Like, this is your life. This is it. So find something you're passionate about. Jim Carrey gives a great talk, and he's like, my father taught me that you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well go after what you love. And that was a real powerful lesson that I think has really shown through with the people that not only have the best track records, but also the people that are the most fulfilled what they're doing. I get sometimes people are like, Daryl, do you ever just turn off? And I'm like, no, because this is what I like. I love this. This is who I am. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this doesn't work for me. I'm loving this. Like, talking with you right now, I'm probably gonna feel guilty after this. I'm like, I should have more work that was unpleasant, but this is great. This is exactly what I need to be doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't work.
Absolutely.
So there's that. There's accepting your strengths and surrounding yourself with a team and being willing to take a smaller piece of the pie because it can get a lot bigger with more hands on board. That's a really big thing. And I'm just learn. Knowledge is power. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is pain. It is suffering. It is disease. It is all the things that you could have avoided if only you knew.
Wow. Wow. Well, I guess that leads me very nicely to the next question, the penultimate question, which is if you were to start everything all over again now, knowing everything that you know now, and having had all the experiences that you've had, what would be the first thing that you would do to start off your business if you had to go back and start again?
Yep. So I thought about this. I knew this one was coming. Wrote down, first I wrote down, kind of like, I don't know if I was clearing my throat, but I was like, network, read all the books, keep a list of goals for your career, for your finances, for your family, your friends, your business relationships, your health, your dreams, anything you want to do charity wise, and your happiness. Keep a list of those goals, review them weekly, if not more often, and track your progress. And then the other thing I would have told myself was not even just business success, but I did this. My cousin, she's that. I have a cousin. She's like 15, around that age. She's been living with her friends and stuff for a while because she's not getting along with her parents, and she almost came to live with me for a while. And I was really encouraging it because I thought she could benefit a ton. And when she was coming here, I was like, I gotta kind of put some stuff down, like some house rules and stuff, just about like if you're gonna live here, like because she's family, I would take care of her and give her whatever she needs, pay for whatever she needs to have, like anyone, right? Their own child. But I was like, there's some rules, and I think after I answered that first, which I think is valid, tracking those goals, I
Mm.
thought this was something else I would really want to tell myself, and that was just that the most important things for me, forget watching television, forget like all the shoulds. You should do this. You should forget all that. Focus simply on these things: health, wealth, love, happiness, and survival skills. And I break those down. Health, focused on learning how to fix problems, how to prevent problems, how to maintain and improve your health. Wealth, focus on how to earn money, how to protect the money you earn, and how to invest it so it works for you. Love, learn how to love yourself, learn the ability to love and accept others as they are, and then learn to unconditionally love both. And then happiness, learn to be happy. Happiness is not something that will one day be ordained upon you. You have to make yourself happy. Be happy, share your happiness, and learn how to make others happy. And then survival skills, I've got social skills and communication skills, combat skills, construction and agriculture, the ability to adapt and learn, time management, have healthy and successful offspring, discipline. And so if I could talk to myself, I would give myself that list and say, take a look at what you spend your days doing and make sure that your days are focused on these things, and all this capacity. And that's for me personally. And then a mentor of mine once said, I can predict your future based on these three things: the books you read, types of people you meet, and the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so with awareness, willpower, proper routines, and ritual compounded over time, you can accomplish anything you want. And that's what I would tell myself.
Wow, so it's like the ultimate manifesto for an empowered life. That is an incredible response. And that leads us into the very final question. What does being unstoppable mean to you?
I think it just means living life on your own terms. If some guy's goal is to just live on a mountain and fish all day and just have his little hut and like a dog or something, if that's success to him, then that's it. So unstoppable really just means not letting other people pull you into their plan. If you don't have any goals for yourself, or any plans for yourself, other people will happily recruit you to work to help them achieve theirs. And so I think really being unstoppable is just living with intent. Life is short, but if you live with intent, life is really long. Like I am loving my life, and I could die at any time, and I don't want to die, but I would honestly look back and feel like I burnt as few bridges as possible. I have mended as many as of those burnt bridges as I could, and I've just done the best I could in this world to just give value and be valuable, and to just make sure that, like I even told you today, like I'm self-employed, but I started work a half hour late. Why? Because I went with my girlfriend and my dog to the dog park because I went to the gym and I just had such a great morning, and instead of just taking the dog out so it could go to the bathroom and running back upstairs, or like, let's just go do something. It's such a beautiful day. Let's go take a half hour and just enjoy the day. Let me just love my dog. Let me love myself. Love my girlfriend. And let's just be happy. Let's just invest 30 minutes in happiness, because like that list I gave you, the health, wealth, love, happiness, and the survival skills. So, yeah. So that's really it. Living life on
Amazing.
your own terms.
Well, Daryl, you are unstoppable. I thank you for unleashing your greatness on today's show. The final thing for us to figure out is, how do the listeners connect with you? How do they find out more about your work? Where can they find your podcast? What's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Sure. So the podcast is called The Best Business Podcast, and that's not to be arrogant or anything. It's because when I did my research, that's the keyword everyone was searching for. So that's what the title. Everybody wanted the Best Business Podcast. I'm like, boom, that's my name. All right, there we go.
Result.
So, yeah, so that's what it's called, The Best Business Podcast. It's on iTunes and Stitcher and all that place. You can search for my name, Daryl Urbanski, Daryl Urban, Urban, Ski, Ski. I'm on all the social media, so connect with me there, however you like. And also, you can go check out bestbusinesscoach.ca for Canada or California, and just get involved, get on the list. Again, movement over meditation. Yeah, that's all I can say. I do my best to help everyone I can. If I can help you, I would love to help you. If I can't help you, I'll tell you that too. Or my website and our products and services will say that. And again, don't put any of us on a pedestal. Just take a measurement of where you're at now and where you want to be, and just every day, just, am I getting taller? I'm trying to do 100 push-ups. How many I do today? 20. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to try and do 21. And just find a way to enjoy the journey and just really enjoy your day-to-day life. I think that's super important for everyone. If you're constantly passing someone at 3 o'clock in the afternoon who stresses you out and fills you with, like, puts your stomach in a knot, you're actually training yourself that even when you're not in that environment, you're going to feel that anxiety and that stress at 3 o'clock. I know, because when I had martial arts, we would change our training hours to match the tournaments and competitions, because you would perform better physically by conditioning yourself. So it's really important you just manage that day to day. I really think that there's so much to that. The time management to get that 24 hours down. But yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to me, website, podcast, social media, we're only a couple clicks away. And stay in touch with Dan. He's a good guy. He's not going to lead you astray. I know he's got goodness in his heart for you too. And just thank you all for listening. And Dan, thank you for having me here.
Daryl, thank you so much. All the links from Daryl's business will be in the show notes today. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and sharing so openly and candidly on the Unstoppable podcast today.
It was a pleasure.